Thank you. What we'll do is next 10 to 12 minutes, we'll have some question answers, discussion over that, open to everyone, to all the panel members on their presentations or anything related to that. Let's have some discussion.
I have a question for Professor Venkatesan regarding the long history of the helicopter development you mentioned. Do you have any examples of collaborative work with private industry throughout that project?
Okay. No, actually, in the small helicopter which I showed you, we faced a lot of engineering problems, and then we went into manufacturing some of the critical components. But with in Kanpur local manufacturers, and of course I got the lead from one of the ADA scientists, and he told me there is one supplier who makes certain components, polymer-based components to ADA. He is certified by the CEMILAC. So I approached him, and then I met him. Then we started making some critical parts, and that was very good. But only those parts he could make. But still I have many components which need to be manufactured. Quite a few. I am looking for people. I am interacting with DMSRD in improving the quality of the material itself. So, but there are issues in that. But we are flying, that is okay, but I know that how long it will fly. Maybe a couple of hours after that I have to replace. So these are the things. Yes, certainly there is a lot of scope for improving this. But not on the bigger code, that other capability, that is only with the HAL, because that is useful for them.
Yeah, there.
Thank you very much, sir, for a wonderful session today. And I'm Group Captain Narang from Center for APA Studies. And my question is to Professor Venkatesh. Sir, I just wanted to understand the infrastructure available within our academic institutions. There are two issues in it. One is the fabrication facilities, which our academic institutions have. Do you think we need to upgrade that, and what could be the roadmap for upgradation of that infrastructure? Second is the ability to develop concepts, convert concepts into designs. Like your concept, how can we make sure that they become designs more often? Thank you.
Okay. Regarding the development of facilities, yes, I agree. Over the years, a lot of improvements have happened within the IIT system in terms of precision manufacturing of small components. That is, we have a 4i lab which was created, and where we can make some of the components. But the material used for that is only, you can say, interference check and various other things, and check whether your concept is right in making the final finished product looks like what you really intended. But when it comes to actually incorporating in your vehicle, then I need to depend on outside vendors. When not vendor, I would say manufacturer, but they are all small-time manufacturers. I won't say big-time, because who are ready to spend time, because it is like co-development. Even though we support them in terms of funds, because I was fortunate to get the funding from Department of Science and Technology and R&D, etc. So I have developed, but it is like they are also ready to help work with me and then design it. And when I put it on the vehicle, if it fails, I'll tell them, hey, this is what is happening. Then they do a little bit of improvement in the heat treatment, though I'm not a materials person. And finally, we have reached the stage, some of the components are very good. Parallelly, but that kind of manufacturing, I can't do it inside IIT. But the 4i lab precision, that is happening. That lab development has happened. And the second part of the question is, see, one very good thing that has happened in the autonomous vehicles is, I would say, because this point is well taken, at the academic institution level, we can work on maybe small size vehicles. but the capability is almost like a big vehicle in terms of all the requirements that is put on that vehicle. But scaling up to a bigger vehicle, yes, of course, there are issues. But this will help certainly in students getting exposure to what a real life situation will be. Because I will, on a lighter note, I can say that some of the students, the moment they see that certain things, if you want to work, it takes a lot of time, you have to dirty your hands, it requires person, they say, sir, I would like to work on computer. And because that is easy for me to do that job, I can sit in my room, I don't have to run around to various labs, talking to people. So this also happens. But the culture has been created in the, I would say, experimental side.
Only thing is that question, Group Captain Narang, I don't know, having manufacturing facilities in academic institutes, that question needs to be little discussed more. See, basically these manufacturing facilities should be there in the industry. There should be some specific things which are actually not available outside, can be academic institutes can have. An example, internal test facility, whatever it is, or RCS measurement facility, which were not there earlier outside. Now even those facilities are available, whether NAL or other facilities and wherever it is. So the core design facility, the design simulation facilities and all that should be there in academic institutes. But fabrication should be able to go out. Unless they want to manufacture immediately something there and then you have a 3D printing machine and do that and then incorporate in that. Otherwise, go outside and do it. Academic institutes should not be burdened with the manufacturing facilities what are available outside.
Sir, I am a retired Wing Commander Sabharwal up to 64 to 92. And from 92 onwards, I am helping the Indian industry for the quality, safety and reliability. My expertise, I will not call expertise, my little knowledge is mostly on the Rolls-Royce engine. Because out of my 28-year service in Indian Air Force, about 11 years I was in 4BID Kanpur, and probably 3 engines of theirs, starting from the A1 and then Orpheus and later on Viper engine, probably I have got reasonably, I have been in the country. Sir, my question to the Rolls-Royce expertise or the authority. Sir, for the Rolls-Royce, I know Lucas Aerospace is one of your suppliers, which provided you the fuel component. Like that you must be having for the many more suppliers there. If in India, we take that technology from you, will you be helping us to develop the suppliers chain in India?
Yeah, thank you very, very much for raising that point.
No, sir, let me complete.
All right.
Or this is one strategy, we go with this because we have enough experience with Rolls-Royce over the years. But other strategy, keeping in with the present future scenario, the way we have seen, probably we would like to have in India these 4 main aero engine giants from the global scenario, starting from GE, Pratt & Whitney, Rolls-Royce, of course, and Snimka. If we set up a supply chain here, and all the 4 come here, that is one proposal, or we start with the Rolls-Royce, get expertise, which will be better for India. Thank you, sir.
Thank you very much for the question. It's a very important point. It gives me an opportunity to bring out. We are very, very keen to have a very detailed dialogue with all of the stakeholders in India. Absolutely, we want to encourage and we will encourage the setting up of supply chain here in India. We know through our discussions with the government that we're in a position to transfer an awful lot of the building block technology. So if we were to join a partnership on a new solution, there is the option to start with established supply chains at a level of capability, but the aim would be to set up the supply chain in India. That is a win-win as far as Rolls-Royce is concerned. It's true indigenisation here in country, but it's also increasing the overall footprint of the global supply chain from a Rolls-Royce perspective. And I think that's a very, very powerful model going forward. So please, we want to have the dialogue. We want to have the dialogue with all of the stakeholders through the Indian Air Force, through the government, DRDO and beyond. Nothing is off limits at the moment. There's very, very few areas of technology and manufacture that cannot be transferred. We need to have that discussion. So thank you for raising that point, and I would really like to have conversations with people here today and beyond to discuss how this is possible. We are very serious about this.
I'm Air Marshal P.R. Sharma, retired. I know after going through this panel discussion, we have had user giving its requirements. We have had HAL talking of obsolescence, how they'll manage that. We have DRDO who has worked out a nice plan as far as funding is concerned. But in general, you know, the feeling that we get after hearing the complete panel is almost going to be 3 years of Make in India initiative that we have been taking. Where are we actually as far as innovations, as far as technology is concerned? We have an academician over here who has brought in his own difficulties in how to manage. So the two issues which I thought I want to flag. One is human resource. How are we looking into the human resource? Funds may not give you human resource as of now. How are we going to tackle this? How is this initiative of last 3 years of Make in India going to fructify? Is there a very clear roadmap, or we are still on the same old path with a little bit of patchwork here and there being done? We need to move on. And of course, we have a Rolls-Royce partner who's saying that we would like to come in and partner with you. And let me tell you, one biggest thing in his mind also must be human resource. Though he's got 600 people in the Bangalore complex, but to take on this technology of ours. So I think we need to do a little more introspection into the whole thing of how we are moving ahead. Are we on the right track? Are we happy on as far as obsolescence is concerned? Electronics obsolescence, another very vital thing which is really going to trouble our people. Is our Semilak and other people looking into this alongside the industry like HAL? Because suddenly they will say, okay, we need to go through the complete flight trials once again for any change that you make, which may not be possible. A holistic approach, you know, why I'm bringing this point up maybe subsequently when we conclude, we would, and I think in general the industry would like to know which path we are taking and how we are going to move ahead so that in a year's time or 2 years or 3 years' time, we do see progress far more than what we have seen so far. Thank you very much.
Very important point what you have brought out. Human resource issue is a very important issue. Particularly how many academic institutes we have in the aerospace field and how many institutes are seriously working on it. Except a couple of engineering colleges having the aeronautical branch. There are no, I think HAL is supposed to be setting up a university, right? I don't know how far it has come, I am not very sure about it. There is a need for having such facilities in the country, such academic institutes in the country to provide the right manpower what is required for all these industries to come up. Otherwise, you have to depend on the manpower also from outside. Otherwise, you spend a lot of time in training these people and developing the skills, and then after 3 years or 4 years, you will be able to do. So this is an important point. Even though some engineering colleges, good engineering colleges are able to provide aeronautics engineers, but that is minuscule, that is not sufficient. Good point.
Hello. My question is to Dr. Reddy. I'm from the private industry. And we find that there is huge infrastructure available in DRDOs. For the private industries, is there any mechanism, or can you open or create a mechanism where we can use the infrastructure available in various DRDOs?
It is available now, it is open, the facilities can be used. In fact, people started using many facilities what are there available with even important labs like TBRL, Chandigarh and all that. The facilities are open, you can use. There is no issue in that. So I think we'll close the... okay, last
Sorry.
question.
Yes, just last one. My name is Antonio Guidoni. I work for Ingegneria di Sistemi, an Italian company. We've been working for more than 30 years in EMIMC programs and also in STEalth programs worldwide. I have just a comment regarding stealth. This is a requirement of Indian Air Force. Stealth technology is not something that you can buy at the supermarket or you can learn on books, okay? You need experience on the field. You need experience on the field, and also you need to integrate into a single process know-how, design capabilities, that means software, and also testing tools in order to verify the solutions. So it's a very complex process that also has to be, let's say, guided by experience and best practice. I think that I totally agree with what Dr. Venkatesan has said before regarding, for example, amended programs. To be successful in this kind of process, you need to put together the user, the Indian Air Force, that has to define the requirements, academic institutions that has to provide the knowledge, the know-how, and has to be able to use the software tools to design the solution, and also industry that has then to manufacture the design platform. And again, it is not easy to design a STEalth platform because it's a concurrent design space, for example, with aerodynamics, because sometimes stealth shapes are not, let's say, compliant with aerodynamics. So it's a very, very complex one.
Okay.